So for my first card, we're going to use this shaker tag, but I'm going to pop it onto a card. So you can see these are beautiful tags, but they're also really good to add as kind of like card toppers as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the cute die set from that. So I've already pre-die cut quite a lot of the bits. So I've got my card blank there, and the shaker panels, they come with a background and then the little window piece, and then you get all sorts of frames. So what I've done, I've pre-die cut them just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to add some ink to some of them, and then we can kind of piece it all together. So my main background, I'm going to use the Wilted Violet, never mind, and we're just going to add some of the Wilted Violet oxide to this. So I'm just going to use my blending brush and create that background. And I'm not using too many colours on any of these cards actually. I've just kind of kept them quite, kind of got the white backgrounds and then a couple of lovely colours, just to really make them pop off the white. Going to blend that purple in a little bit, and then what we will do is I'm going to get dropping everything today. I'm going to just spritz that with some water and clean that up at the same time. And then if you use the water on the oxide and you dab it with a cloth, then obviously it takes away some of the oxide. So then you're left with that lovely kind of mottled effect. So I'm just going to dry this off with my heat tool. So that's the only bit that I need to dry with my heat tool. So I'll pop that one to the side. And then I've cut two of these kind of like detailed frames. So these sit on top of your shaker panel, but they're really good kind of background frames as well. So I'll just dry that a bit. I don't want any water on this. So one of these, I'm going to also add the purple to. So we'll just blend that in. So the beauty of these is I've cut all of this from white cardstock, and I'm literally just adding the colour using ink. So one sheet of A4 cardstock and you've made your card. So I'll pop that one to the side. And then I've also got a little banner here. So add the ink to that one. So you'll see all of these are from the cute tags die set. I've got the flower there as well, so I'm just going to lightly ink that. So I only want to really be inking the edges of the petals. I want to keep the centre of it white, and we will repeat that with that one. So this is all using the Wilted Violet. So I'll pop that one to the side, and I will just clean off my mat, and then I'm going to take the other frame here. Oh, excuse me. And then I actually can't stop dropping things today. I don't know what's the matter with me. So I'm just going to use the Salvage Patina here. Just going to add some ink to that one. So this one in a minute is going to sit around the edge of the frame. Just make sure it's all covered there. So I just want to give this one quite a good coverage. So I'm just going to go back over it again. Just make sure that's all covered. So pop that one to the side, and then just some of the little leaf elements. Now again, like the flower, I just want to add this onto the edges. So pop that one to the side, and then I've got this one here, which I'm going to leave white. And then I've cut my bear. So I've cut my bear from grey. Now what I want to do, so he's just cut from grey cardstock. So what I want to do with him is I'm going to pop the die cut back into the die. because we want to give him the detail. So when you die cut it, leave the die in there. And then I'm just going to use some Hickory Smoke Distress ink. Just going to give him some eyes and nose detail with that. That's that one. And then just going to go over his ears with a little bit of pink. I'll pop that one out. So you can see now you've got all that detail, really cute with the bear. Really easy to add all the facial features. So we've got all of our elements there. Now, I've also die cut 3 of the word love. So the reason I've cut 3 is I want to layer them together. So just using some wet glue, I want to make this a really thick kind of sentiment and give it some dimension. So all I'm going to do is layer all these 3 on top of each other. And then I do have a, here's one I made earlier, because what I've done with one of them, and I'll show you in a second, I've added some glossy accents to it, and it's given it that really nice shine to it. But obviously that takes a few hours to dry. So I've pre-done one, but this is what I do with it. So I would just cover it like that, so they're all layered, and then add the glossy accents to it. And once you've done that, you get this really nice shiny effect, and it's really nice and thick. So I'm going to be using that one today because that one's already dry. Now, this is the frame that we're going to add on, but I've pre-done one. And the reason I've pre-done it is because I needed to add all the foam pads, and I know it takes quite a long time to add them all. So what I did basically, I've just stuck the acetate to the back, just using wet glue. And then I've added the foam pads on. So I'm just going to peel these off, because what I want to do, I want to add the sequins. Now, I find it easier with shaker cards to take the complete foam back off first, because otherwise you put your sequins in and then you're shaking them all about and they will end up sticking to the foam pads. So this is kind of the way that I find works best for me. So we'll just pop all these off. So I've been doing all the prep for this, and I've ended up, there's so many white sticky pad backs, and they literally follow you around the house. They are everywhere. Even out, actually, I go out and they're following me. So I'll pop that. So I'm going to take some sequins, and I'm just going to sprinkle those in the centre. Just trying to avoid touching any of the foam pads if you can. That's it. So make those nice and flat. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to layer it over the top, and that's going to seal them all in now. So now you've got the shaker element of it. So what I've also done is I've added some 3D foam pads. So this blue one here, I've already done one. Again, I've added the 3D foam pads to it because I want to add this and give it some real dimension. But it takes quite a few foam pads because I don't want it to sag in the centre. So I've added loads of them on. So I thought, right, I'll add those on and pre-do it. Otherwise you'll have to watch me stick them all on and peel the back off. So we'll just get the back off there, these. And this makes such a difference. I love these frames in this set. So you've got all the shaker elements, but then you've got different frames that embellish it, and they are so useful. But they're not only useful for kind of adding on to the tags, but they're really handy for creating the backgrounds and lots of layers on your cards. These are just it's kind of endless possibilities with these. I could just go on and on. They'll work with so many other collections as well that you've already got, and other stamps and dies. Really fun. Right, nearly there. Let's have a look. So, a couple more. There we go. And let's just move that. So we'll pop that one on. So that now fits perfectly around the aperture. And you're just adding all that dimension to it. It's really kind of nice and full. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the bear, and again, more foam pads. So add a couple of foam pads to the back of the bear because we're going to make him 3D as well. So this is a really kind of bulky card. So this is kind of one of those cards that you give rather than pop in the post. Add the bear on here, like so. And then I've got my little banner here, and that one's just going to sit below the bear. Pop that one on. And then I've got the word love. So again, this is, you can see how solid this is. This is really thick once you've added the glossy accents to it. So what I did when I first got this die set, I cut loads of these, glued them all together, and then added it and let it dry. So I've got loads of them ready when I want to go. Because there's nothing more annoying than making a card and having to wait. I always tend to put my finger in it to see if it's dry. Just kind of can't help myself really. So just going to grab my foam mat. Let me see where I put that. There it is. So just going to grab a foam mat and we're just going to shape the flowers now. So I'm just going to use my ball tool and add some dimension to that flower. And I only want to add it to one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick this one to the flat one. And then you've got that lovely shape there. So just turn it. There we go. So I'm just grabbing my dots as well, because we'll add a little dot to that in a second. So then we've got the leaves as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shape to the leaves. So just using a ball tool. You can use your nail for this as well if you want to. Just pop the flower on. Then we'll have the leaf coming down like so. And add that one up like that. Just keep those shapes. So I'm just going to add a little gem in the centre, just put a little bit of sparkle. So now, obviously now, you could use this as a tag. So you get your little element in there that you can hang the tag from. So you can use this as a tag if you wanted to. But what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to make it into a card. So I'm just going to take a piece of square card and then I'm going to take a stencil. So this is a stencil, you might recognise this one. This one is from the Dance On collection. And it was the one used to add all the splats. But it works really well for this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add some splats to my background. So I'm going to make sure some of them come off the edge. I don't want them all sitting on the card. I kind of want them so that they look like they're coming from the edge, and then some of them in the centre. All various shapes and sizes. Keep moving that around like so. So I'm really being random with this. I'm not kind of overthinking it at all. So I'm going to take the purple. I'm going to do the same for that. So it's going to create this kind of funky background. Just see where there are gaps. So that one's probably only got a gap for a small one there. Add the small one in. Turn it that way for that one. Basically, we're just adding splats. I think that's enough actually. So, what we've got now, so we've also got this one that I did just now. So I want to stamp the sentiment into that one. So I'm just going to grab my stamping platform. Pop that one on. And then I'm taking the stamp, and this is from the floral die set, the Movers and Shakers floral. I'm just going to add the sending birthday wishes sentiment. Pop those up. Just add some black ink to that. There, so we've got a sentiment. So this bit here is the waste from the frame. So I've kept the actual waste part. You'll see in a second how I've done it. So we're going to stick that down now. So I'm just going to stick this flat with wet glue. Pop that one there, and then stick this centre back in. So no bits are wasted in the making of this card. And then we'll pop that one on there like so. So you could make up of the tags if you wanted to, and then you can either use them as tags or you can use them as cards as well. Once they're made up, you've got them there. We'll pop that one on like so. And there you have your shaker card that can also be used as a tag. So I will send you back over to Lou, and I will be back in a minute with another demo.